Hello, my friends. This month, January, is the New Year's resolution month. And what I decided to do for January was a no spend challenge. And I'm going to try to use up the things I have in my pantry the most I can. I'll buy a few things that are necessities, like we need sometimes some milk and fresh veggies and things like that. But I'm going to try to use up the things in my pantry, keep my food budget low, and come up with dinner ideas that are still good, but can use up what's in my pantry. Now, everybody has different pantries and different things in them, so these recipes might not fit exactly what you have in your pantry, but if I can do it, you can do it. So come check out what I'm cooking in the kitchen this week. Let's see what's in the fridge. Please don't judge me. We have a little bit of Christmas dinner leftovers, some potatoes and ham. And I made some salsa. Ooh, my daughter got me this Cafe Yum sauce, which I could definitely use for a meal. We also got this cranberry salsa. Need to use up this yogurt before it goes bad. And I just haven't thought of anything to use this with, but I would like to use that up. I also have some things in I really want to use the rest of this coleslaw and these green onions we used for our cheese balls. Those need to get used up. I don't know what I'm going to do with all this parsley. It's way too much parsley. Some cabbage back there. I also have lots of different fruit, cranberries. I don't know what those could be used for to make a meal, but I do have, we got lots of sausages and pepperoni and different things for gifts. We have cheese, lots of different kinds of cheeses and lots of tortillas. Make something with those, and I do have a little bit of uncooked bacon and some cooked bacon. So that's what's in there. Let's see what's in the freezer. More ham that I just stuck in here to freeze. I also have this flank steak that I need to use up. And then these are ham from quite a while ago. Probably should use that up. Tamales I just made. And one little bit of soup and a little fish there. These are all mostly frozen fruit. Used for smoothies and things. Goodies from the holidays. A few frozen veggies and a few frozen foods. So that's what that looks like. Let's check out the pantry. Extra condiments. I could do like Hawaiian haystacks with some cream of chicken soup. I could do that. We have lots of beans. This could go with the Yum Bowls. And also canned tomatoes. A little bit of canned chicken. I could use that in something. And tuna, except my family doesn't really like tuna. My husband usually uses that for things. Lots of pasta. And a lot of I really need to use up these freeze-dried veggies and something. Lots of different kinds of pasta. My favorite kind of tomato soup. I bought these dried onions. I thought these would be good to throw in soups and such. And I also have this vegetable soup mix I'd like to use up and some stovetop. So that's kind of what this looks like. I also have a ton of rice and oats. That's bread flour and wheat. And some popcorn and macaroni. Don't know what I could do with that, but maybe something. In our extra fridge, we got not too much, some carrots, some sausage, peanut butter, some more yogurt we need to use up. That's about it. Lots of butter, nuts, not too much. In my deep freeze, I've got some freezer meals, a bunch of frozen fruit, some chicken down there, and pork. This is some frozen beans my husband made, and some other freezer meals. It's not really anything too exciting. Oh, I do have some ribs. Get those out. For the dinners, I'm gonna make a fried rice with the leftover ham, a rice and bean bowl with my yum sauce that I got from my daughter. And I'm gonna be doing a stir fry as well, like broccoli beef. So I did buy some broccoli because I didn't have broccoli, but I used everything else I had already on hand. And I'm gonna do a chow mein with just some ramen noodles and see how that turns out. So for the breakfast, I decided on breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, and sausage egg cups. I used the pound of sausage I had for the sausage egg cups and the biscuits and gravy. And I just made a small batch of biscuits and gravy and a small batch of breakfast burritos because this last week, I was only cooking for 2 people. So I've got 3 breakfasts, 3 dinners. Hopefully I can make that work for the week, and then I'm going to kind of reassess, buy a few things if I need it, but try mostly to use things from my pantry. The first breakfast I made was breakfast burritos, so I took a bunch of eggs and whipped those up and got them frying in the pan. I had some eggs in my fridge already, and my friend gave me a whole bunch of eggs, so I was able to make several egg dishes this week. And I added the bacon that I had already had in the fridge that was chopped up to this as well, and a bunch of cheese to hold it all together. Now, because I had so many green onions, I found a way to use them up in most of the things I cooked this week. I warmed up the tortillas. I put a little bit of this egg filling into my tortilla and then rolled it up and ate it with a little bit of sour cream and salsa, and it turned out really delicious and super simple. If you had extra, you could definitely freeze the rest, and then that would make it a quick breakfast for another day. For the next 2 recipes I did, breakfasts I had this pound of sausage in my fridge that I was going to use for something else and didn't end up using it. So I just went ahead and browned all of it up really well. And then I put it in a dish with a paper towel to drain some of the grease. And then while that was cooling and draining, I added a whole bunch of eggs. Like I said, I got some from my friend. So I was lucky to be able to make quite a few egg things this week. So I mixed those up really well. I added some sour cream, maybe like a half a cup or 2/3 of a cup. Salt and pepper. I think I started with 8 eggs as well in this. Added more green onions and some of that parsley that I have. Oh, cheese, of course. And I did add some of the parsley and sausage that I had cooked up. Mix that well. Oh, there's the parsley. And then I just put these into my silicone muffin mold. Now, if you don't have a silicone muffin mold, you're going to really want to be sure you spray well, because I just don't know how eggs do in regular muffin pans. I've had one of these for so long. And this is what made me fall in love with silicone bakeware, was the muffin pans, because we make a lot of muffins and eggs in our house and they just pop right out. Easy peasy, no problem at all. It's such an easy cleanup too. But you want to get a good quality one. A cheap one is not going to be worth it. I don't think they work nearly as well. So there's my egg cups, and I can continue to eat the rest of these egg cups as the week goes on, or you could even freeze them and pull them out as needed. So like I said before, some of my family was gone, so it was just me and my son this week. So I just made a small batch of biscuits. And I went ahead and made them in this little mini food processor because I wanted to blend the butter up really well in the food processor. And I thought, why not just stick the milk in and see if it'll mix it up so it's easy to just roll out. And it worked pretty well. So I didn't do too many pulses, just enough to kind of mix together all the flour and milk. Then I just put it directly down onto my silicone mat and just kind of with my fingers press it out. And you can roll it if you want. And I think I did roll it a little bit with a small roller. And I didn't have a cookie cutter the right size, so I used a cup, and that's fine. You can use whatever you need. And I probably would have made these a little thicker next time. They were kind of thin, but they were really tasty, and I haven't had homemade biscuits for quite a while, so this was a really nice treat. While the biscuits are baking, I added milk and flour and salt and pepper together to make my sausage gravy. I added back the leftover sausage I hadn't used yet with a little bit of butter. And then I forgot to push record, but I did add the milk and flour mixture into the sausage and just cooked it on medium-low until it was thickened. And here are my biscuits, and I just cut them apart and added my gravy. And that made for a really yummy breakfast, but we also like to do these sometimes for dinner. The first dinner I made of the week was the bean and rice bowls, or the yum bowls. So I took my rice, added salt and water, and cooked them in the microwave. Then I cut up just enough vegetables for a few bowls because, again, I didn't have a lot to cook for this week. So I cut up a few vegetables. Now, once my rice had cooked for 15 minutes in the microwave, I covered it and let it set for 5 minutes. After it sat for 5 minutes, I fluffed it and just made my bowls. A little bit of rice, some black beans, cheese, and I had a little bit of that homemade salsa left, and then I added my veggies. Of course, you don't have to use the yum sauce. You could put other things on top of it, but if you do want to try this, I do have a copycat yum sauce recipe that I made on my channel a while back. So you can check that out and learn how to make the sauce yourself. It's really delicious. The next thing I made was a fried rice, which I tend to do a lot, but they're so easy and just so delicious. And if you have leftover ham, it works out really well to make rice with it. So I cut up some of that leftover ham, added a little oil to my wok, and fried my egg up real quick. Pulled it out of the pan before it started to get too done. Then I added more oil back and added my cold leftover rice from the yum bowls, and made sure to coat the rice well in the oil. Then I added some veggies, a little bit of sesame oil, some frozen peas, some salt, my chopped ham, and more green onions, and added back my egg. Now you could eat it just like this, but I added probably 1/4 cup or so of soy sauce. Super easy. I think we had this for lunch one day. So good. For this last dinner, I boiled some water in my wok and salted it well. Then I blanched my fresh broccoli that I had and set it aside for my broccoli beef that I'll be making after I make the chow mein. And I used that same exact water and just softened up my ramen noodles, pulled them out, put them in cold water. Now, I don't know if you have to do that. I just thought it might stop them from cooking. I didn't want them to get soggy. Then I drained that and I added oil and some garlic to my wok, and then I added some vegetables. I added carrots and cabbage and celery. And I cooked that for a few minutes until it started to soften up. Then I added more oil to the pan and added my noodles back and stirred that up really well, coated it with the oil. And I made a quick sauce with some soy sauce, oyster sauce, and rice wine vinegar, or rice vinegar, I'm not sure what it's called. And added, not all of it, but until it looked decent, and added more green onions. Then I went to cook my beef and broccoli. I added some oil back to my wok and threw in my flank steak. While that was cooking down, I made my sauce with some soy sauce, wine, cooking wine, sesame oil, fish sauce, brown sugar, mirin, and some water. Just mix that up well. And there was a little oyster sauce in there from earlier. Added some ginger and some cornstarch. Then I went back over and continued to cook my flank steak. Added some fresh garlic, cooked that down a bit, added back the broccoli. Once I got that cooked all the way, I added my sauce and let it thicken. Now I did add a little extra water and of course green onions. Now I had a pretty well-stocked pantry and fridge, and these meals turned out pretty awesome. I'm really curious what the next few weeks will be as I start to have less and less to choose from. I am, of course, buying the essentials if I need them, but stay tuned so you can see what else I come up with to cook from my pantry this month. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching and Happy New Year.